So we're gonna call to order. And I'm gonna ask for the payment quorum. Do that by roll call. Barry Brewster. Becky Burns. Tim Bush.
Yes.
Bob Kratz. Ricky Dyson is excused. Becky Kaufman is not here. Andrew.
Here.
Stacy. Here. Ann.
Here.
Mr. Mix.
Here.
I am here. Frank.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then we have two vacancies, so we have a quorum. So the first thing that I would like to do is go over the minutes from the meeting held May 13th. Does anybody have any questions, comments, corrections that we made? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve this from May 13th, 2025 as presented.
A second. Okay. Has been moved by Frank and seconded by Kim. To approve the minutes from the meeting held May 13th, 2025, and let's do a vote by hand. If you raise your right hand, it's for approval.
I have one more.
Well, you should have said that before we ran it. Mr. Mix, you're out of context. What is your problem, Mr. Mix? Brought us all out of order. Come on. Chop, chop.
I objected against you being.
Oh, that's right. He did. He didn't object. You just didn't vote for me.
He abstained, I believe.
Yeah, but it says he said aye.
No, I object.
Now you object.
I don't think that's gonna work.
It's nay.
You said nay.
Sorry, that's why I moved over.
We both said nay. It's there. You're looking at the wrong one, John. This one here, it says you said nay.
The first one.
First one.
It's covered.
There it is.
Please ignore my husband.
Oh,
Carry on. All in favor, raise your right hands. Thank you, Mr. Mix. All in opposition? None. It passes unanimously. And now we're going to move on to review and discussion of the budget. Before we actually start, I want to address some kind of the elephant in the room here. We received some commentary. We received a letter that we were asked about, and it had to do with some police positions that had been combined into one. And some assurances that we had made these individuals. And I specifically said that I would look in this budget, do everything I could see to find some way for the funding. I can't find any. It's just not there. The problem is we have a revenue deficit in our general fund of $557,517. The general fund is made up of 5 different departments or funds, you might say. And it's just not enough to stretch it to get that position funded. I know it's not what any of us want to hear. It's not what any of us wanted. I believe 100%. I know 100% that our staff in putting this budget together did absolutely everything they could to fund everything that they possibly could. And but they can't pull money out of nowhere. They can't create something that's not there. And so therefore, when we get to that section, I will not be proposing any changes that would fund that position, I'm afraid. And I just wanted that to be out there. I believe that these employees deserve an answer as to why, and the why is the money's just not there. It's not for lack of wanting to, it's for not lack of any of that. It's just simply, we can't pull it from nowhere. This is a difficult budget this year. It was put together with a lot of thoughtfulness, a lot of cutting corners. They did everything they could to save money everywhere they could. So, so that's just everything that I have to say about that. And with that, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I just want to share as, you know, someone who was joining council, had been elected at the time that, you know, the transition to the new dispatch services was. I wasn't on council at the time. One thing, you know, that really dawns on me, kind of seeing this cycle as both a citizen at the beginning of it to now. I know I expressed this a little bit last week, but I think one of the challenges is the concept of the promise, right? That the city was in a position of extreme transition across multiple departments, whether we're talking about the dispatch services, the fire department, police staffing challenges, city manager, finance director, things happening at City Hall, things happening on the council, huge transition. Promises shouldn't be made, you know, and I think that's the best comment that I'd make when it comes to things like staffing and the permanence of staffing. Promises are a nonsense thing to even try to do, because when you get with something that you can't afford, promises are unrealistic. And so, apologize, I'm kind of looking to you because it feels a little bit like a discussion, but that's not meant to be toward you. But just, I think one of the real challenges here is that as we were facing a really difficult decision for the community, one that a lot of people in the community, including those who voted for it, were uncomfortable with, not wanting to let go of local dispatch, right? That was not something we wanted to see happen here, but it was a reality. I think that the only mistake here is that a promise was made that probably couldn't have been kept. And it gets really, really dicey when you make promises that, you know, I remember leaving the room and kind of making the comment last week, what's the shelf life on an employment promise? How long can you keep a promise, and how many bad things are you going to let happen to your community financially before you say that promise is not sustainable anymore? So I guess my only comment on all of that in reviewing this, and thank you for your comments, Tracy, because I think as much as we all want to be able to keep everybody employed and we don't want to let anybody go, promises are the biggest failure of this process to me.
Well, I think that we have to take some serious looks too after we get through this budget process. It's about, you know, other ways to fund our police services.
Yeah.
We had lost funding because of things this year, like Juneau shutting down and things that were unanticipated. So when those assurances were voiced, those promises, if you will, it was foreseen in the current budget cycle. Okay, we have it. Yeah, we're going to keep doing it. And they were, their jobs were there until that, you know, the job was there and that it didn't change. But unfortunately, these other things have happened too.
Yeah, we lost Seal Rock Water.
No, the Seal Rock Water has nothing to do with it.
Yes, they were already on it.
And it has nothing to do with the general fund.
Yep.
Seal Rock Water is sustaining its own sustaining fund, and so is sewer. So when, like I said, when I'm talking about this is a general fund item, we can't confuse the funds. I mean, a lot of people go, well, why can't we pay for that? We just got an increase on our water bill, because they're two completely separate things. So, so anyway, that is something I wanted to be completely upfront about. There has been a communication gap in some ways, and I know that those individuals are here tonight, so I wanted to speak to it before we started really delving into this.
I had a harebrained idea today. And I have no idea if this is the place to talk about it, but I feel like if I don't talk about it now, like bring it up later and somebody says, oh, you should have said that before the budget was approved. So looking at the budget and having done this for a few years, the library has been fantastic about getting grants. The fire department has been fantastic about getting grants. The pool's been fantastic about getting grants. And I don't know that the police department's gotten any grants, because you guys
They have.
get a few. And so it got me thinking it would be great if one of these ladies' jobs was just grant writing, and then it's like, it's probably not enough for a full-time job. What if we were to bring them over, create a position at City Hall to just write grants for the
Okay,
city?
once again, where are you gonna get the money to fund that position?
Well,
Because
once
that is
the
still,
grants still kind of start coming in.
You gotta get there
you
first.
gotta get there
Yeah,
first.
That's the problem.
I was trying to think outside the box, how we could create a
Yeah.
position.
If it was a position someplace else where we could find the money for it, that'd be
Right.
fine, but we're still talking about the general fund.
To put a hard number to what Tracy's referring to, we're $320,000 in the hole. Okay, between our garbage fee because Juno's not operating anymore, $20,000 electrical. 15 is out of the fire department because of the contract with East Lincoln County Fire. Those three items alone would have funded a position easily, but they're gone. That money is not coming back.
Actually, the fire one would not have funded it because that is in the fire department.
But
That
they
would have
paid for part of dispatch.
Okay, that makes sense. But since we're not talking dispatch anymore, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's all gone.
So I think we know as a city that we need to start looking at some other solutions, but that's not a discussion for tonight so much, but it's something we need to be thinking about.
What's the phrase you like so much from our city manager profile? Innovative revenue
Yeah,
strategies.
and we need some serious ones. But anyway, I know we don't all want to be here overnight, all night. So let's keep moving on. So let's go ahead and move to page. Let's go ahead and start. Is that where we're gonna start? Page
Yeah.
11?
Can I make a,
Yes.
it's a question / comment for page 8. For Chief Pace. Do we not have a detective slot now?
The detective is not actually a slot, it's an assignment.
So it's just an officer, but an assignment. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure on that. Reading down your list. Thank you.
Well, I guess that's a good space. Do we have any questions on page 8? Does anybody have any questions?
We're supposed to put HR in there, the very bottom for administration. So there's no HR block in there.
Where are you gonna come up with the money for it?
Well, I thought we were gonna. We never.
Okay, so
Okay, that would be something that would come from the general fund and there's no money to fund it. So we can't put something in there that we can't fund, or we would be,
Madam Chair, can I,
yes.
just for the record, we do have resource for contractual services. So you're gonna find that when you get to administration, that we have contract services for HR, contract services for legal. What we don't have, we no longer, in other words, where we had a position, we no longer have a position. We have whatever that contract will,
But didn't we only fund 140,000 for contract services? But we increased it by 140,000.
Anticipation of HR and legal services.
that's right. Yep. You will actually be entertaining the movements tomorrow evening for HR services. It's a city council.
Okay. Your only question is whether or not, so,
I just didn't know if there was supposed to have been a block there for HR. That was.
so you're anticipating that HR is going to be a contract position,
That's correct.
not an employee?
Well, so you have a proposal tomorrow night that puts it either way. You will entertain it as a city council tomorrow night, so that's on you tomorrow night.
Council's been discussing that for a little while.
I know.
That's not for the budget committee.
So we can just answer that question.
So, but what, okay. All right. So does anybody else, go ahead.
look at me. I'm not in charge. What's down
Quick
there?
question. So basically, we're looking at this point, you've presented a budget that needs to be balanced, and we need to see that that's going to be balanced. We're not looking at innovative ways to change the budget, then change things or anything like that. That could all happen later on in the year if we wanted that to happen.
So is it
That's a question for
That's
you.
not
May I
necessarily,
respond to the question?
go ahead.
So the budget you have is the proposed budget for the budget officer. It is balanced.
Right,
What you're looking at tonight is whether you want to make changes to that budget for your possible approval as a budget committee. When you're done, then it'll go to the city council for possible adoption in whatever form they choose to.
right. So.
So you may change it, you may adopt it as is. Your goal would be to make it, would keep it balanced is what the only thing we would ask.
What's your concern?
And I'll add to that, Barry, to I think what your question is, the core of what your question is getting at is what we have the power to do is say how much money is going to be in any particular budget. But city council will have to determine how
I knew
to spend
that.
the money once it gets
I
there.
just didn't know
So
if this was a time to throw a whole monkey wrench into the whole thing and say, we need to be we need to be crazy with the budget and freaking put our heart in a box
and Barry,
and rip everything apart.
We'll do that.
Okay,
It's your budget to do so. We have done our job presenting you a balanced
Okay.
budget.
okay.
but all that we can do as a committee is adjust the dollar amounts, not theoretically what they will be spent on once once the city
Gotcha,
council. So what I'd say,
Okay, so
based on.
that answers my question.
Based on what I think you are ultimately getting at, go to council
Yeah,
and say, here's the innovation that I'd like to
Right,
see.
right.
And then if council wants
okay.
to fund
I
it.
just wanted to make sure that this
Let-
wasn't the right
Well,
place to
let
do
me
that.
finish real quick. I promise this is good for you. Council can then do amended budgets can bring an amended budget to align with what that strategic change might
Gotcha.
be.
Okay.
So I think what you're ultimately getting at is more city strategy
Mhm.
as opposed to what we're doing here, which is the budget.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Am I getting that right,
I'm
brothers?
not sure I understand where you're going. I'm not following very well. It sounds like
I
there's some
think, I think so.
things unsaid.
I understand it. Thank you.
So we had no more questions on page 8. Okay, let's move to page 10. Were there any questions on this? This is a consolidated financial summary of what we have in front of us.
Just confused the hell out of numbers down. Like taxes didn't even move. This is my first year doing budgets, so
Okay.
I'm literally,
This is an estimate.
So Frank, two things. One, we have urban renewal. Okay, and so that increase on those properties within the urban renewal district goes into the urban renewal fund, not into the general fund. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, whenever you're budgeting, say it's a normal year and we don't have urban renewal. Even though property taxes quote increased by 3%, our collections are generally right around 2.5 to 2.6% because of just things like people who don't pay their taxes. They can't find the guy, whatever it is. Okay, so we get what we get. And Judy and other finance people back down through the ages have tried to do this as conservatively as possible so that we don't get out over our skis. And one of the things that has always been a hallmark of us compared to some of our neighboring communities is that we don't have to borrow at the beginning of a fiscal year to do operations. We have always kept enough in our beginning fund balance to be able to handle that initial 3 months before taxes come in, to be able to get through it without having to borrow that money at sometimes ridiculous rates. And so we tend to budget a lot more conservatively than most people do. And it's one of the reasons why we're able to take a hit like we're taking here and not going into a complete tailspin.
Madam Chair. Just point of order here. We are prepared and my staff are prepared, our department is prepared to make short presentations leading into each of the relevant budgets, including the pages you're at right now,
Okay.
if you'd like. And then the question would be, do you want those in the order they arrive so that you could get that presentation first, go through their budget, followed by the next budget, next presentation?
Yeah, I think
like-
that would be good. So if you have a presentation for like the general fund revenue where we are right now, let's go ahead and do that. And then we'll get through that section and then we'll come up with the next one and do it that way.
Would that be helpful to
I
you?
think so, because I think it gives us a very thorough presentation and might answer any questions that somebody has on that section.
Right, and it gives us an opportunity just to give you the overview, because we're gonna try and take it from a high level. And if you're talking to me, it's gonna be a very high level, because I'm far less familiar than the person sitting on the screen up here who's gonna jump in and tell me what I said wrong or supplement my information.
She's
That's
very
the
nice
beauty of
about it
it.
though.
She may be nodding, she may not be nodding. It's late at night. Wisconsin. So first off, looking at just your overall budget, your overall summary of your fund, you're looking at, as has been noted, $557,000 deficit coming into this year. Basically a 9% overall decrease in the general fund. If you look to the particulars of that, you'll see that the fund balance was reduced as of the last year from the former year. So there was a reduction of roughly 365,000 in beginning balance to start the year. There is a increase in transfers trying to offset some of these shrinking numbers, unfortunately. Our franchise fees are projected to be down substantially, 171,000 primarily to the Juno project. Our intergovernmental revenues, primarily those coming from the Lincoln Fire, are down a net of 150,000 is shown here. Our court fines are down 15,000. Activity is down in the police and courts. And then I believe grants and donations were again estimated fairly conservatively at 23,000 reduction, largely because whatever's going on in Washington is a little unknowable to us. On the flip side, you'll see that the personnel costs are well down, nearly $1 million down. Some of that is just from reductions in services. Some of that is from going from, for instance, a contract attorney or a city attorney in person to a contract attorney. Some of that is, the same with the HR position. So things of that nature. So that shows up as a reduction in personnel services, but it'll show up as a bit of an increase in overall materials and services. For the same reason, that's where the contract services will come out of. You'll see a reduction special payments. I'm not even sure what that is, 25,000. Judy, if you're welcome to jump in on that one.
That's the 25,000 has been previously budgeted to go to the Toledo pool. And it's my understanding that the city is no longer helping them pay their water bill.
For the upcoming year, because they plan to go into construction and they won't be needing
They
the
won't.
water.
They won't need one. Okay, very
It's coming
good.
to us tomorrow.
That's a reduction in expenditure, so that's a good thing. So overall, that is again a net reduction in the spending budget as well as the revenue budget of over $500,000 or 9%. I'm ready to sort of move into the administrative budget unless you have some questions on what we're doing with the overall.
I'll ask my question here and then I'll be quiet for the rest of the night. Did you consider alternative contracting for all services, fire, police, all that kind of stuff? Since we went to WCC went away.
I'm your interim city manager, not sure you're a suicidal maniac. So
A contractor with the sheriff's office kind of a thing, or?
no, we didn't. explore those.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
That's beyond the scope of what an interim manager would do. To answer your question.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
I have a question on the joint side. Appropriate now?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yes.
Code enforcement gets $1,800 a month from Select, and that goes into the general fund, is that correct?
Judy, Cindy,
It should. The SLUT's agreement is right here.
the answer is yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Why has the price changed per year? I thought it was the same every year.
We didn't negotiate it.
Yeah, we haven't renegotiated. I was wondering why that price. is
I
changed.
think it's a timing thing of when the
Okay,
money
when the-
was received.
Yes. And is that normal to put it into the general fund when,
Yeah, because
Police
it's
is-
paid out of the general
but
fund.
the police cover all the gas and the uniforms?
Police
It's
is
paid out of the.
Police is part of the general.
Fund first, so that I'm just,
No, police is part of the general fund.
yeah, I was just thinking, I have seen on Facebook, people calling for that position to be gotten rid of, and I would just like for it to be on record that that position actually makes the city some money as opposed to just being paid out because of that contract. So I was just wondering.
So just an overall understanding of general fund services. General
Yeah.
fund services largely, sometimes they produce revenue, sometimes they don't. But they're general fund largely because they require subsidy through property tax and other resources.
Okay.
So by way of example, and this is not unusual, but property tax in this city, for instance, doesn't even cover the cost of police services. So it has to be made up with other functions.
Yeah, okay.
So that is just, that's not, but that is state of affairs. So it's a combination of grants, franchise fees, other fees, property tax.
I appreciate you guys' answer. I'm still new to all of this and I'm learning, so, yeah.
Just understand, these are not money-making services. These are services that people want cities to thrive on and be willing to pay for through their property
Yeah,
tax.
okay.
What is the stabilization fund?
Okay. Stabilization fund, back in the mid 2000s, the city received a large payout from the state for PERS, okay, the Public Employee Retirement System. Okay, and at that time, Pete Wall, our city manager, convinced the city council to make a fund called the Stabilization Fund. And what that large check has continued to do over these years is balance our PERS costs. So we have set a threshold of 6%. If it goes above 6%, then money's paid out of the stabilization fund above that 6%. If the change is under 6%, then whatever is under 6% goes back into the stabilization fund. So that unlike some places that have been hit with 20 and 25% increases in their PERS, Benton County, we're able to withstand that up and down motion within PERS because we have a way to essentially budget ahead for it. And it's one of the wisest things I've ever seen done in government, and I almost wish we would patent it.
Any other questions?
Move on to, we actually started we jumped into some questions about the page 11, so I
Yeah.
and just work you there a little bit. So
This is administrative services.
I'm sorry, this is general fund revenue.
I did have one more question, sorry.
Yeah, good.
You know, I can't help myself. I'm curious, is there any particular reason for the significant drop in municipal court fines?
I don't know. So the police chief will be up here shortly with his department and you can ask him
Oh,
about.
I could tell you why. Just look at what the adopted and the actual were. We way overestimated it. And the actual is much lower, so we're just bringing it down within reason.
I'll be curious a little bit later on if, like, why that estimate was so far off then. But, yeah,
I think the year before was up.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, if you look at the year before, it was 67,447, and that was a trend. The year before was 75. And so 70,000 was pretty much a trend. I believe, we take a good estimate, so it was pretty close. But then people have been behaving themselves a lot more. So, I saw Barry look twice when he crossed the street earlier, so he didn't get that jaywalking ticket. And that cost us $15,000. Blame it on Barry.
I'll run some more stop signs.
Makes sense.
There you go.
Beyond
Barry
that-
help us out there.
Beyond that, we don't know. There is a downward trend in those revenues. I don't know what it is.
And I suspect that's what it is. They budgeted it based on pretty close to what was actual. And that seems to be.
Well, yeah, because what I was looking at was that it was budgeted to what was actual for the previous couple of years. And then it dropped off by so much, and that's why I was curious if there was something systemic that had changed or.
That's the best person to answer that question will be up shortly with this.
Okay. Good question, though.
So just further on the revenues, I think you talked about largely about the pieces, the only other thing is state shared revenues. I just want to point out that those are dropping off as well. We're seeing less than liquor taxes, less than gas taxes, cigarette taxes. Unfortunately, times are probably getting a little better and people are drinking a little less. No, that would be whatever it is. But other than that, I think we've covered the revenues, so
That's just since I realized the cameras.
page 12 is administrative budget.
That would be, whatever, y'all know it.
So page 12 is your administrative budget. It's just a couple things that I want to highlight. Actually, the only thing that I really want to talk to you about that's popping out as being noticeably different is the item that I mentioned earlier, and that's contract and other services. So that's moving from a proposed, estimated year end of 160 up to 300. And so that covers, so that's in large part where you're seeing some of that salary dip pick up again in terms of contract services. So we don't, yeah, so.
Why are we emptying out the city council strategic reserve fund? I'm on page 11. Transfers from city council strategic reserve, $139,684. And that zeroes out our city council strategic fund.
Tracy, would you say your question again? I didn't quite get the first part of it.
So I just realized, I do not know why I didn't catch this earlier, is we are emptying out our city council strategic reserve fund, putting it all into the general revenue.
Right. We didn't empty it out completely. I brought this up in a council meeting. And it was suggested that 75,000 be left in the city council strategic fund and the rest of it go to the general fund. That's the SIP money that's coming in.
It's not being reflected that way on page 34, it zeroes it out. Oh,
No,
doesn't it?
it's a balanced budget, but there's resources there. Page 34, you said?
Yeah, materials and services, 75,000.
We have special.
Yeah, there's $37,500 for special purchases and there's $37,500 for contracts and other services.
So we're just assuming that we're not gonna spend that and that'll leave $75,000 in the fund?
No, that's what you have to spend.
But we just transferred $839,684 to the general fund.
Right.
Okay,
Can I take a crack at this?
take a crack at it because I'm not understanding what's happening.
Okay, so the SIP money, okay, that money has been going, because we had no other place to put it. They've been put into the city council strategic reserve fund. Now, that SIP money is to be used for the betterment of the citizens of Toledo.
Okay.
In this case, it's been suggested to us that probably the best thing we can do with what's in there currently is to get us closer to a balanced budget. Now, that we functioned for many years with just a $50,000 cap on that. At a $75,000 cap, I don't think is out of the realm of workable. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
So last year, in this estimated actual for this year, we transferred $365,000 out of our city council strategic fund to the general fund. So we put that money from this fund to the general fund, and that was used for the city's operations. Okay, in the general fund. In 2025, 2026, it's proposed that we're moving $839,684 of our $1,030,684 balance into the general fund. So we've got all of our income, our full revenue in that is 1,000, including our beginning fund balance, is $1,504,684. We're spending $75,000 on materials and services. We're allocating $590,000 to Alala Metals, and we're transferring $839,684 to the general fund. If we do that, then that leaves us a fund balance of zero.
You have 75,000. If you don't spend it, that's your fund balance.
If you don't spend it, but it's allocated to spend.
We do that
And
with
you'll
all.
also be
with all of
making interest on
Okay,
your beginning fund balance, so you'll have some interest left in there. But you're
Yeah.
gonna get some more money from the SIP.
Well, I mean,
right?
I'm not complaining that we're transferring it because if we didn't transfer it, that's $840,000 more in the general fund. I mean, that we would have to try to make up.
So with the SIP, and
Yes,
so I have to get technical here. The SIP dollars were in lieu of property tax payments on the $25 million Juno project. Okay, so since they're not making property tax payments on that, this is what they're doing in lieu of it. So I look at it as, yes, we have a set of dollars that are a lot more flexible than what we've had in the past. But still, they're in lieu of tax dollars. And so because of that, that's where I don't have the heartburn with it that you're having.
I'm not actually having a hard time, but I do have
Hard to tell from your tone of voice.
just, so we're lucky we have that money in there.
Yes.
Or this budget would have been impossible. I mean, Judy, I don't know how you guys would have made up another $840,000, but that would have been real magic. The one thing I do have a question on though is since Juno is no longer in operations, are we still gonna get that SIP money?
Yep.
For how much longer?
For the next 13 years.
So they can't get out of it just because they switched it to R&D.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Okay, good with that then.
City has a strategic. My own foundation, how do we arrive at the 37,500 for each of those, and what is the expected, what do we typically spend that on?
Okay, for 11 years, we didn't spend it on anything. We didn't spend that money initially until COVID hit. And then that's what we used to get business loans and to help prop up our businesses that first year of COVID. And then we backfilled it with the ARPA dollars or CARES Act, I can't remember which one. Okay, but we backfilled it, so we got it back to the 50. We've used it in the last year to, that was the fund we used to help the Railroad Museum and Toledo History Museum. It's for those things that either we can't anticipate, okay, or things that we feel are very, 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 tack on as many of those as you want, important to the livability of Toledo.
It's to give the council discretion to.
Let me, if I could add to that, just one of the things that you should be aware of under budget law is that if funds are not budgeted and if they just reside on unfunded balance in unused fund balance, it's very difficult to appropriate those for any purpose during the year. So if you have a need during the year, it's an extensive project process to be able to appropriate and use funds that are otherwise an unappropriated fund balance. If you appropriate them, as being asked here, whether they have an intended use or not, you can transfer them easily to a use that you'll have during the course of the year. So as was mentioned, it provides that flexibility to city council to use those dollars.
So they're getting it to 34.
Through page 11, I don't know that I have anything to add.
Finally, we managed.
And on page 12, that is just our sort of our catch.
Serious, I had to chew my husband out. Now we're on page 12.
Page 12 is administration, so we have some of the administrative expenses, some of the generalized expenses such as insurance, streetlights. We've fund our, as we've mentioned before, we fund our contracts here. So it's a mixture of capturing the administrative costs of the city manager and support staff in City Hall. That isn't otherwise elsewhere. And those particulars. The only thing that's really again notable, I think you should see in this is, well, there's a couple of things. There's a reduction in salaries of 27%. Again, I think we are through attrition, reducing some of that budget. And the increase largely in contracts and services that fuels the overall increase in that budget.
The salary line budget item, would that include the city manager's
Yes.
salary? So, or is the,
Well, I don't know if it's 100. What, Judy, what percent are these percentages down? Let me understand if these are allocated out.
The city manager's salary along with some other administrators are spread out over several funds. If you look at page 8 on your budget book, you'll see how the city manager's salary is allocated. In the bottom box, it says administration and city managers, the first one. You see 0.01 goes to water. That's the treatment plant, and 0.01 goes to the distribution. Then goes to sewer, the treatment plant, and the collection, and then some to the streets, and then 0.94 goes to administration.
Me during the day, and I have to tell them, you know, once we're past our 0.6%.
Yeah, I'm sure. How that works. Okay. Is your nose growing again?
That's why you have a smartwatch, right?
Brian's got a dagger count on his eyes now.
This is why you can tell.
Friends, like, whatever.
I'm just trying to hear all this, but I probably don't want to hear it.
In our council meetings since receiving the budget, we had a council workshop last week about recruiting for new city manager, and that included the possibility of a very significant increase in the salary for that city manager. Does this budget have enough space in it that we could afford to pay the high end of that salary?
We didn't know about that meeting when we prepared these numbers, so we've put an amount in there. I don't know that we put the full amount.
Do you know what the amount was?
Before she
Not
goes
off the
there,
top of my head.
yeah, before she goes there, the odds of you're bringing somebody on July 1st are less than nil, because the end of the hiring period doesn't end until the end of July. So it'll at least be a month of,
Cushion.
yeah, and
Sure, but if we end up in a situation where we're giving the high end of that salary range, that's more than a month's difference.
I don't know.
And that's why you do budget
Right.
reconciliation notices, like we gotta move this from one fund to the other to cover that salary. But we don't know those exacts until then.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is, for the purposes of this meeting and why we're all here now, where we might have to make changes to the budget, we do know what the cap on that salary range is. So is it beneficial for us as the budget committee now, knowing that, what did we say, 175, 165?
65.
165 was the high end of the range? Should we be making an adjustment while we are here, knowing that that is our stated high end? Is this the place to make that?
You can do that, or either rely on the contingency that you're budgeting in this to pick that up if you need it at year end next year.
Because, you know, there's caps on all the salaries, and this budget isn't based on all the caps.
Generally, they are, they expect there to be a certain amount of increase, so they budgeted some increase in the salaries. They don't do it at the same as previous.
On the flip side, you've tended to have a fair amount of turnover, and so there tends to be salary savings. People come in at the low end of a range instead of where they are in the range. We tend to spend less in that account, like almost virtually every other city than what is budgeted.
There's a certain citizen type perspective I'm having right now of thinking it's a little weird to be recruiting for an executive position and saying that you're promoting what the salary could be for it, and then telling those prospective candidates, we sure hope we can get that money out of the contingency. That's all. It feels.
But that's it. That's disingenuous. Okay, I'm sorry. That would be like us being able to know exactly how much overtime we're gonna pay this year. We have not hit the ballpark even in overtime pays over the last three budgets. Now, Did we pay those people their overtime? Yes, we did, but our budget numbers weren't even close. Okay, so that, it's a disingenuous, of course, we're gonna cover it.
So I guess my point is, wouldn't we rather take money out of the budget and put it somewhere else if it isn't needed?
What do you mean?
So I'd rather.
like to find money that's not needed in the budget. I would love that, but I can't find any.
No, what I'm saying is if we're out there saying that this is a salary that is available, but we don't have that money sitting in our salaries budget, and we're only going to move it there if the candidate we choose wants that much money and we agree to pay them that.
I think standard practice.
Okay.
That is actually how this is done.
Okay.
And that's why we have that money in the contingencies and the unappropriated surplus. And those monies are meant for things just like that. So it's actually already been accounted for. It doesn't have as much in those categories as I would like to see. But we've been through a lot in the last couple of years. So, I mean,
And we're still balanced.
and we're still balanced, well, yeah, but look what it took to get us
Yeah.
balanced, so. So that is a valid concern, but I think we have enough cushion to protect us on that.
I withdraw because it's not being treated as a valid concern, so I'm perfectly happy to back off from it.
Harry?
So on behalf of a high school student who did a presentation to me on streetlights, he was concerned about light pollution. Is there anything that we could do to reduce the use of streetlights and get more money? Does that make sense?
No use of streetlights.
So you want our streets to be less safe because somebody doesn't like the lights?
So I think I know what you're talking about.
The light pollution causes all kinds of environmental problems and people problems in houses and all kinds of stuff. I'm just speaking on the behalf.
No,
of
I
high school
understand
students
that.
have a concern. So that's what I'm.
I'm kind of watching what they're doing in Lincoln City. Because they're looking at ways to reduce their light pollution also.
Yeah,
It's a whole new field,
right,
okay?
right.
So I'll be honest, I don't want to reinvent the wheel if somebody will invent it for me.
Right, okay, thank you. That answers my question.
By making the LEDs illegal.
Well, I'm thinking up in our neighborhood, they fluctuate. In other words, they rotate. If I'm wherever Public Works is. Yeah, they'll go on and then they'll fade and then they'll come back on again. They
We don't
all.
maintain them, PUD does.
Yep.
See, I thought they had decided, they did that as a saving. You don't need all the lights blaring brightly all the time. So one would fade and then another.
It's the type of bulbs they use and and one day I will get a new bulb, hopefully. It's the older the bulb, the more of a fluctuation you get because they heat up and once they get to a certain temperature, they shut down. What PUD is now doing is as a bulb burns out with our streetlights, they go to the LED bulb, which saves everybody money and they stay lit. But to try and do them all at once in the city, from what I was led to believe, it would be about $500,000 nut to have that done.
They told me more than that last time I asked.
See, there you go.
LED lights are so much brighter. You think that would
The
increase?
illumination is awful.
What?
Yeah.
That's why I'm waiting to hear.
Put screens on the lights.
Yeah, they can put
the light straight
so they
down.
What they're doing, and that's because Lincoln City's in the same boat. They had brand new lights put in 10 years ago. Okay? And they want to cut down their light pollution. So they're trying to figure out how do you do that with those type of lights? We virtually have almost the same kind.
Yeah.
If you go up and look. So hopefully they'll have an answer.
Okay, we're bringing it to city council.
Stacy? I was just gonna say, I think we're getting a little.
Oh, yeah.
Good girl.
Yeah.
Okay,
Second that.
we're on page 12, y'all. We're on page 12, okay. Are there any more questions on page 12? No, okay, let's move on to page 14.
Do we want to have PPS?
Yep.
Yes, please.
So that's gonna bring you back to page 13.
Okay.
You like to have the department heads come up to the table, so they can make it $100 better, get to the microphone.
So
I don't know. Can he be heard well enough over there, Lisa?
I can, but I'm like two people over. I don't know how people can hear online. Can you, okay, online?
Mike, you want to go ahead and talk, please?
Yeah, so like to, thank the city council and helping us with Gary Sumter's memorial sign, which is placed on the Highway 229 and the presentation that went along with that. Our goals have always been retention of employees and the hiring of employees. And unfortunately, I understand the position you guys are in with that. And but I feel it's going to have a cascading effect when the staff has lost confidence in the ability of the city to maintain the fiscal budget for the department. And it puts a lot of stress on that remaining individual, non-sworn person. And so I think in the future, we might want to look at alternative measures like you stated before. And if that means contracting out with another police department, then that's something we need to consider in the future. I just don't want what happened to the police department to happen to dispatch in the middle of our fiscal year like we did last time. We were able to, I had 3 dispatchers that held on until the end of that crisis. And we were able to sustain that financial burden within our own budget. And with the help of multiple agencies that came in, provided contract services. And that was actually during the time when we were, the city was in turmoil as far as losing city manager positions and financial director positions. And so I'm really proud of my staff for stepping up and dealing with that. You'll see on page 14, the salaries have reduced 36%. That reflects the reduction in staff for dispatch. And you'll see an increase or a new line item for communication services. And that would include both WVCC contracts and the in Part 43, which is our new CAD RMS system. So WVCC provides our CAD, and CAD is computer aided dispatching, and Mark 43 provides our report management system. We need both of those in order to function. The good thing about that is that those are both being used throughout the county, and so we're able to communicate more effectively. We're also on the same channel as them, which increases our response time and the ability to work in interoperability. Our office supplies went up a little bit, only $1,000. Grant expenditures went down. We're not expecting any new grants at all. Utilities went down as well. This being covered in a different line item. And then as far as equipment, one of the reasons why we were able to manage that downfall or that major expense was that we didn't purchase the equipment that we needed to. Our computers are outdated, and so they'll be replaced this next time around along with new monitors. And then as far as the special purchases are concerned, that'll be e-sights that'll be going into the cars as well as EOTechs for the rifles and some other expenditures that may pop up. And I do have a CIP. I don't know, are we be talking CIP later or now?
CIP.
Capital improvement project.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so my CIP this year would be the first so far. Page to that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's on page 53. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
I'm expecting that cost to be $55,000 and that'll be covered under the vehicle replacement plan.
Are there any more questions? Can we ask you questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, absolutely.
We've been going with the Explorers. Why are we going back to the Challengers? Just
It sure is challenging to be the range.
Charger.
Charger,
It says
sorry,
Charger.
Charger. Yeah, it says Charger.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's a misprint. It should have said Durango.
Oh, okay. We've been doing those SUVs for a while now.
Now, the Durango, the Durango is a good platform to have for our topography. They do well in both the ice and the mountains. And the hills.
That one also come with the LPR like yours.
That's an kind of expense, or it might, I might, yeah. That's what I'm decided on that yet.
Thanks, chief. You had me in there with a charge.
Oh, I'm glad you pointed that out. The typo I Yeah, the Chargers actually did not do well at all during the ice and. Yeah, they're like powerful one, so that's why we go back to,
I watched one of our officers try to get up 10th Street. And emphasis is the word try.
yeah.
Do we have any more questions for Officer Chief Pace? Okay, thank you, Mike. On to page 16. Huh? Oh, 15. 15.
Can you hear me from here? Is that gonna be okay?
Yeah, because you should have mics.
So,
Yeah, mics. If you turn the mic toward your face, chief.
we've been having a conversation. I was hoping it wasn't recorded.
You know, it can still pick up this conversation, right?
Okay. So I think the council knows me, Budget Committee, I'm Dave Laypaw, Fire Chief at Select Fire, and currently the Fire Chief at Toledo Fire. Larry Robinson is the Assistant Chief, and so we've been kind of working together. I'll start off by saying the Fire Department's been very resilient in dealing with lots of insurmountable challenges. We've been able to maintain 2 people a day, and usually 1 person or 2 people at night, probably 80% of the time. We're backed up with Select Fire and also East Lincoln. One of the challenges we had was East Lincoln Fire District separated from a contracted agency to the city of Toledo and is going out on their own. So there's some lost revenue from that. Since about September, the full-time equivalent staffing at the fire department has been reduced to 2, and then since January, it's been reduced to 1. So that's why you see a significant difference between the actuals and what the allocated amount was from the previous fiscal year. In a normal year, there's 4 FTEs in the fire department, but this year there's 3. We expect 1/2 of that position to not be fulfilled till midwinter. We're going to be able to augment that with a staffing grant we got from the state fire marshal that will provide for 2 people through July through October. We'll then flex the shift, so we're not exactly sure what days they'll work, but our goal is coverage 7 days a week. So we think we're going to be able to achieve that. We've had some mechanical issues that the council approved back in October, November, that were more expensive than anyone anticipated. We expect that engine will be upwards of $50,000 when we get it back from the shop. It was originally slated to be retired or sold in a couple, 3 years, but now it's going to be around for about 10 or 15. So the money will, spread out. Our call volume is a little misrepresented on the page 15 because when East Lincoln left, half the calls disappeared. So that means that we are just now serving the city of Toledo as our primary agency, as opposed to the 54 miles of East Lincoln County. Let's see, what was I gonna say on that? The dispatch service, we've been proponents of moving to the Willamette Valley. At Selects, we've been there since 2010 when Lincom disbanded. And what it's done is allow instant integration. The dispatchers can see all the vehicles across the county, including all the Toledo units. So it's improved firefighter safety greatly. We have instant communication, all the vehicles are able to track, and we can do better data collection. So we're looking at that. We have 2 capital improvement projects. I'll let Chief Robinson speak to the building in a moment. The other one is what we call a Lucas device, or a mechanical CPR device for $25,000. We hope to come in a little bit under that, but by the time things get done, and most of the products are from Europe, and we don't know how the tariff situation is going to play into that. But with fewer people on staff, this allows 1 person to put this device on a patient and it performs CPR. And you don't have to have a person doing that. And it's effective CPR because What we found is if we go to doing manual compressions, your performance diminishes greatly and you're not really helping the patient. So this device will change that around significantly. Science and data has proven that. And so this is a great device for the fire department, especially with minimal staffing. Chief Robinson will talk about the addition and go on from there.
Yeah, the building addition is the one we're rolling over from previous budgets, trying to get done this year. That I don't think we did pretty much anything moving forward with that. We had other things we were working on. So I'm proposing to move that into next year and try to get that done.
So this is the third year that we would be budgeting for this.
More than that.
No, third year.
The third year, 3 behind us. I mean, either way,
This is the fourth.
this is the fourth. So,
This is the fourth.
yeah, because it started out at 12,000 and in conversation. Actually, the conversation goes further back yet.
Oh, the conversation goes.
Yeah, but we did start it at 12,000 and then quickly laughed at those numbers. And you're right, it is at least the third.
The third is this number.
So what are the likelihoods of this actually getting done this year?
We'll give it a shot. We can keep the turmoil to a minimum. We'll push forward with it.
Sure, I'll do that, no problem.
My question would be, is based on the budget restraints we've experiencing, is this something that we absolutely have to have?
No, if it came down to it and you asked me what to get rid of, I'd say cut that.
Well, that doesn't do us any good though, because this is actually not something that we can use in our general fund. It would help our general fund and budget
So back
constraints.
to fire.
These are designated funds for capital improvement projects that can't be taken back, used in the general fund. So while, it wouldn't do us any good to not to do this, because it wouldn't help fund anything else. I'm correct on that, I believe.
I like it.
I'm pretty sure that's the law, so.
Yeah,
I
and
hope
it's
you
a
like it.
rollover from, like she said, previous years.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for our fire chiefs?
Just a real quick question about that Lucas device that has nothing to do with the budget. Those, are they able to be changed from like adult to child, like?
So they can't really be used on any child, anybody less than 12 years old, depending on physics. So we have a cadet that's 16 years old at Select Fire, and we didn't actually turn it on, but we put it on it, and the device wouldn't even work because he's so small. And so it really takes a pretty good sized chest for the device to even recognize that it's a body that they should be compressing, like a mechanical device. Good question.
So if you're an adult, eat more cake, because it might save your life then. If you're too skinny, you're done for it.
Sure. We'll have a little donation bucket right on the side.
Thank you for the cat cookies again, Jackie.
Yep.
Saving our lives. You're great. Okay. Any more questions? No? Any? Do we want to move on to page 17, property maintenance?
I'll ask him afterwards.
You asking? You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to, actually, you know what? Maybe this is a good time to take a quick break. I was gonna do it at 7:30, but let's, first property maintenance part of fire.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll carry on. We'll finish up the fire then before we take a break. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. So do we have any questions on page 17 on the expenditures for the property maintenance? Hearing none? Okay. Are you guys okay with us moving on and taking a break then? Oh, yeah. Lively bunch. Okay, so we are gonna go ahead and take a 10-minute break to use the restroom, and we will resume at, let's say, 7:35. Okay, I'd like to call you guys back to our meeting. Before we continue on, I have a question for everybody, and I'd like to discuss it briefly and then make a vote. House first. Have some discuss. But keep your cursing to basically, yeah, stuff like that, because we're recording. And anyway, how late do we want to stay tonight? I mean, if we still have public works to go through. That's kind of extensive at times. So we want to be able to be thorough with this, ask whatever questions we need to. I'm not saying we're not going to do library tonight. My suggestion is we have two options. We could do the library and community court and then break for the night, because that'd be about 8 o'clock. And then we could come back Thursday and wrap it up. Or we could stay as late as you guys want tonight.
No.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
My suggestion would be we go at this to try and finish it tonight, but we don't go past 9:30.
I would say 9 o'clock personally.
But if we're close at 9 o'clock, can we? Like, if we're down to our last page, at that point, can we?
Our last page.
But see, I've seen it done when we said we'll have a set time, and then we get there and we're like 2 pages done and be like, oh, let's get it on.
What did you wanna?
I think we should commit to staying on track with our discussions and at least get through the department heads presenting since they're open tonight. Really if I can do it.
Okay, is everybody okay with that?
So get it done.
All right, the library is up.
I can do this pretty briefly. Permanent goals for this coming fiscal year: hire a program specialist, continue expansion of adult programs and outreach. Improve and update facilities, strengthen relationships and collaboration, and even codify our evaluation procedures. Look over at page 19, I'll just kind of briefly run through. A lot of the major changes in how we're allocating things already happened this previous fiscal year in anticipation of expanding our adult programs. We already brought the adult programs expenditures into parity with the children's programs expenditures. We're recruiting for that position now. Fill out that part. You'll see there's a negative number there under grant expenditures. That does not reflect an actual anticipated decrease in grants. That's based on, this past fiscal year, we pulled in about 40,000 in grants. And that initial 30,000 in there, that's sort of our average, our ballpark. We're still going to be pursuing all the grants we can pull down. We're seeing some bumps here. We're proposing to travel and training and membership and subscription. I'd like for our outward facing positions to all have the opportunity to join the OLA, the ALA, travel to represent the library at events, conferences, workshops in the state and outside potentially. And that'll keep us agile in that regard. And we're seeing just some modest bumps to books and materials, programming expenses, special purposes again, special purchases again, so we can be agile to, improving facilities, making those purchases as needed. And I just have one capital improvement project in here, which you can see all over from previous fiscal year.
What page is that on, Harrison?
The capital improvement project, that will be I think it's on 56. Yeah. 56. Yeah, the access ramp to the upper parking lot. We haven't gotten around to that one yet. So that's what I've got.
Ramp from the upper parking lot to the back lawn.
Is that back where they do, you guys do your movies and stuff like that?
Get back there.
Yeah, so we have our performances for some reading program. We have that stage back there. Right now, we have we have the stairs up there and we've got a step on the other side. It's a little bit of a pain if you're rolling something up there, if you're a drummer, if you've got things to move back there, there's a curb there. So that's an initial step toward making that a little bit easier to get up to the back lawn. By putting just a general access ramp somewhere up back there.
And that would also allow for ADA people to get up back.
It would be, ADA would be a longer conversation.
No, I mean, being able to allow people in wheelchairs into the backyard is what I'm getting at.
It would be a generally improved accessibility back there. The ADA conversation is one where
It doesn't fall into.
In the initial stages of it, that'll be a longer project for us.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Back on page 19. I noticed the salary is only increasing by $4,659. But the taxes, insurance and benefits are going up to $49,152. Do you have any commentary on the change? Is it because we're moving part-time positions to a full-time?
Yes, that's the reason.
Okay. So, for people that don't speak payroll and employee benefits, what that means is when you have part-time individuals, they are not eligible for certain benefits that the city would offer. And now that we're moving two part-times to a full-time position, that means that I believe we're combining them and making it a full-time position. And that makes them eligible for additional benefits, insurance, retirement, and those sorts of things. And that's why we actually see more of an increase in the benefits than we do in the salary. Okay? Was I the only one who ever had that question? No. Good, all right. Okay, so I think we've clarified that. Does anybody have any other questions for Harrison?
Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Harrison. Okay, we're now moving on to municipal court. Do you want to read this for us, David, since we don't have the municipal court
There's
person?
virtually no change in the court's budget from 1 year to the next. So you have the court descriptive analysis, but unless there's questions about
Are there any
Judy or
questions?
Cindy, if you have any responses to it.
No, no questions?
Well, just one, why is our fine revenue dropping other than Barry's not jaywalking?
Or running stop signs.
Thanks.
We have majority of our staff that's on patrols, admin, and they have other responsibilities and duties. You have detective that's been super busy arresting people for various crimes. And then we have two brand new officers that will be led.
Thank you.
Counties.
No,
You do bounty where you just, anybody can report. And then we get a kick. And they no traffic problems at all.
that's ethical.
Yeah.
I'm talking for me.
No,
I can put my camera in my car and where people be walking, right?
Yeah, and Toledo has a history of, and I was just discussing that with another individual here, that we have a history of training over, we'd rather train people to bring them into compliance rather than fining them. So a lot of times our police officers, I believe, if they find somebody doing something wrong, maybe they have a tail light out, instead of giving them a ticket for them, they give them a warning. Now, maybe if they see him later that day and headlight's still out, they were gonna have a different conversation, but I think that's an asset to our community. Rather, it doesn't bother me when I see fines go down. It means that our police officers are probably succeeding in their outreach efforts. So,
Just wondering, put it out.
no, good.
Thanks for circling back to that.
Do we have any, so now I'm looking at some general services expenditures. Do we want to have any discussion on this one? Does anybody have any questions about what's happening here?
Where did that unappropriated surplus come from?
The unappropriated surplus is, okay, since this is the general, it's where the contingency and unappropriated surplus. These are funds that we put money into and we carry it over every year. So the unappropriated surplus and the contingency, they're like, okay, this is the money we have left over after everything else we did last year.
Okay.
Right, Judy, is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you have any other questions? Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to public works. Mr. Farmer, would you like to take over?
All right. Well, first, we'll start by our mission statement of Public Works is to provide quality and necessary services for sustainability while making Toledo a better place to visit, work, and live. If you'd like me to just go through some of the highlights, read verbatim.
Or in your own words, whichever you want.
The exterior remodel, the public safety building is a big one. Hopefully at the end of June, stairwell will be completed. We have Safe Routes School grant, which we received, and we put the flashing LED signage with speed feedback on Sturtevant, Southeast Sturtevant there in front of the elementary school, and also on Southeast 10th Street from East Slope Park over to sidewalk. Repaving of Butler Bridge Road from KP's main gate entry to the intersection of Southeast Butler Bridge Road, Southeast East Slope Road. Rehabilitation of Lions Park. Then the office addition here at City Hall, which we plan on completing end of next month. Yeah, questions for that, or do you want to keep moving? All right, slow me down if I'm going too fast. Departmental goals. We'd like to complete the rebuild for the memorial bathrooms by the midsummer of 25. You know, they burned down arson of March last year. Tennis courts will be resurfaced at Arcadia Park and hopefully be open to the public August 1st this year. And get on the works of having Business Highway 20 replaced from Northwest Dundon intersection to Highway 229 at the West Junction. Our public works crew, maintenance crew will continue to maintain the facilities, parks, and green spaces within the city of Toledo. Public Works will work closely with other departments to manage repairs and upgrades needed in the facilities. Our maintenance workers will continue to keep our parks clean and safe for all to enjoy while continually working on improvement and beautification ideas. Streets and roadways in the city of Toledo will continue to receive attention as necessary for pothole patching, drainage improvements, and maintenance in general. Our crews take pride in keeping their areas clear of litter and debris. And we will continue our mission to provide safe travel for those who live in, work, or are just visiting our great little community.
Do you have any more comments you want to go over? Do you want us to just start going through things and then ask you comments?
You can go through the expenditures or however you want to do it.
Okay, let's start looking at let's start with the streets revenue on page 24. Does anybody have any questions? No, I'm not hearing any questions. Okay, how about streets expenditures? Do I have any questions here?
Know that there's somebody that speaks up on Facebook a lot about Southeast 7th Street or Southwest 7th Street, something like that. Is there any way we can grade that, if not pave it, so they can actually drive on it?
Private road.
Is it a private road?
No, it's not mine. He's not talking about my road.
Oh.
He's talking about the 7th driveway down the other side, I think.
Gotcha. That is, if I'm not mistaken, county property.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well,
That's really there, county roads.
We will talk, Barry.
Am I correct on that one?
County road. Ah, okay. There you go. You gotta go to county roads.
And the other end of 7th Street, you're correct, is private.
I spoke with the individual that you are referring to who lives on that road just last week.
Oh, okay.
And I know that they hope to talk more to the city, but wanted to kind of wait until things had settled down. And give it a few months. Either way, yes, I am very certain that you are correct. County, private, city, ambiguity, not on us.
Good.
At the moment.
Right.
I believe it's county property management property. If I'm not mistaken, yes.
Jackie, you had.
I just wonder why is there a difference with the estimated actuals for 24-25
Okay,
as opposed to adopted? So is it because the year isn't ended or?
well, so the adopted, a lot of times, we'll adopt high on the salaries or low because sometimes this is before, when we passed last year's budget, it may have been before we had actually done the negotiations with their labor union. So sometimes I don't know if that's actually true here, but that would be one reason why maybe our wages are off and things like that. Expenses we budget a certain amount, but what we actually spend is what's in the actual. So adopted is what we budgeted for that line. And then the estimated actuals is what we've actually spent.
So then street sweeping, we had 15,000 budgeted and only spent 45. Our streets don't seem to be dirty.
No, that's true, but a lot of times is when they talk about street sweeping, they're talking about the cost for that. Is that just for the maintaining the street sweeper, or what is that cost for?
Maintenance in general, and if something had happened that the street sweeper went down, we had a contract out.
Oh, okay. The actual
They have
street.
to replace the brushes.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So
Okay,
it just ended up not costing as much as it normally does.
Which we like, so
Right. Last week at council, Merritt asked about how much per street cost repair, and you said somewhere around 750 grand. Where is that
So
on?
how much do we have repair on it, and how much has it costed over time repairing?
Right.
Well, that was a
Where is
guess.
it on this? Is it not on this page?
No.
No. David,
I just want to reiterate your point to maybe explain it. When we adopt a budget, we're adopting right about now in this time of year. And these figures that you see as estimated actuals are far more current figures. They're based on what we know a year later, much closer to the year end.
okay.
So our adopted budgets and our estimates are generally not going to be identical.
Yay.
good question.
it was a very good question. Do we have any more questions on page 25? No, okay, let's go ahead and move to page 26, and I'll give it back to Brian with Public Works.
The treatment plants, distribution and collections would be water treatment and wastewater. Also provide quality, necessary services for sustainability. Will make it a better place to work, live, and visit. Highlights from 24-25. We at wastewater, or within the city in general, we've been under MAO, which is mutual order agreement with DEQ since 2019 for faulty sewer lines and excessive I&I, which is inflow and infiltration, our sanitary sewer systems, which had a tendency to overload our wastewater treatment plant. City diligently followed the MOA and made the repairs to sewer systems, helping reduce the I&I and the amount of waste being produced or processed. And as of November 24, the city's no longer under the MOA, sorry, with the DEQ.
Mr. Lorimer, when was our original date that we were supposed to meet that bar on?
I'm not sure what the original date was.
Because it seems like we exceeded the bar. We actually fulfilled it early. I want to say
Little both.
26.
Well, it's a little both,
Okay.
because there were some that had to be done within a 2-year period. We met those. But you're right, we're ahead on the other ones.
Yeah, because it seemed like we got,
Yeah,
we were, once the ball started rolling and we started getting it going, they just moved very quickly.
Yes.
And, you know, with Brian and then Bill before him, they really did everything they could to not only meet those deadlines, but surpass them. And they've done an amazing job. So they got us through this much quicker. And sorry, Brian, but thank you.
and it is an MAO, memorandum and order.
It's an MOA, mutual order agreement.
I had to relearn my language.
It's
for
mutual
that.
agreement.
Oh, sorry.
I would misspoken for the MAO also. That's what I was trying to say.
I know, it's mutual agreement and order, but it's really mutual at the end of the chart.
Another highlight from 24-25. Roughly 800 feet of our asbestos concrete treated water line was replaced in October with 12-inch high-density polyethylene, HDPE, during the First Street water line improvement project. We also replaced several fire hydrants and an entire section of roadway from Southeast 7th Street to Southeast 10th Street. It was ground down and then completely repaved. Also, nearly 800 feet of AC raw line from Mill Creek Reservoir was replaced with 12-inch HDPE as phase 1A of the Mill Creek water line replacement. And it completed the section of pipe replacement from Stedco property off of Southeast Tournament to the Mill Creek pumping station on Southeast River Road. 25-26 departmental goals. The filter media at our water treatment plant needs replacement. It is recommended that the filter media be replaced every 20 years. The city of Toledo hasn't done it in 25.
It's a crucial part of the water treatment process that removes sediments and impurities. Crucial.
What kind of, is that one of your improvement things later or?
It is.
Okay, then I will withhold my question.
Yeah, you talked to us earlier. at
I'll go over a
council
little
about
more
it.
detail in the capital improvement project.
Great.
The SCADA systems, supervisory control and data acquisition systems at both our water treatment plant and wastewater plants are both very dated and they need to be replaced. They're pivotal for optimal performance, communication, and monitoring. Also, our Lincoln Way and high school sanitary sewer pumping stations don't currently have ATSs, which are automatic transfer switches, which means that in the event of a power outage, an ATS would start a generator at the pump station and continue pumping the sewage to our wastewater treatment plant. It would reduce the potential for safety hazards for our workers and also health hazards for the general public.
So currently, if we have a storm situation and one of those pump stations goes out, one of our employees has to go and manually, physically do
Our other
that.
sanitary sewer pumping stations have them. Lincoln Way and high school pumping stations do not. Bridge Sanitary Sewer Pumping Station has a dated operation system. And it'll soon be obsolete. Our VFDs, which are the variable frequency drives, they need to be updated as well as the PLCs, which are the programmable logic controllers, and other necessary corresponding system pieces. Without these, our pumping stations would not operate and the sewer waste would not make it to treatment facilities without continual manual intervention. Our wastewater treatment plant is dedicated to the efficient treatment of sewer waste that is produced by the city of Toledo. Our operators are diligent in serving the city. The wastewater treatment plant treated roughly 291,387,000 gallons of waste in 2024. 24,282,250 gallons per month average. Our water treatment plant strives to provide the best quality of drinking water to the city of Toledo, and our operators are dedicated to their craft. The plant produced 184,991,257 gallons of drinking water for 2024. That's 15.4 million gallons average per month.
Question, do we want, Mr. Lorimer to go through his, capital improvements before we go over the income and expenses, or do you want him to wait till afterwards? Gonna do it now? Would you like to go over this with us now?
Okay.
Okay.
Did you want me to start at the beginning of them, or the streets?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Capital improvement project for public works, the street painting, and I believe that's a costly item, should be 54,000, not 52,000. That's probably my mistake.
Did you see 54?
Yeah, I believe so. Now, line item 011-110-600-420 from the budget. It's to enhance and sustain public infrastructure and facilities by implementing plans for parks, stormwater, and street improvements, upgrading water lines, improving infrastructure, and evaluating the city fleet in order to create safe, efficient, and sustainable environment for residents and visitors. The painting of our streets and roadways is pivotal for sustaining safe travel for all those who live, work, or visit the city of Toledo. And maintaining the lane markings with annual painting is necessary.
So those are just the lanes, not curbs.
It's center lanes and the fog lines.
Okay.
Not the turn arrows, crosswalks. It's 180,000 linear feet.
Okay. I'm impressed that you remembered that.
So that's coming out of the systems
Lot of
repair fund?
What's that?
It's coming out of the systems repair fund? Okay. Great.
Hammond Tank Reservoir. Cost of the item is $2.3 million. Line item 041-410-608-100. It'll be a complete replacement. The Hammond tank is a 1 million-gallon steel storage tank that was constructed in the 70s. Recent inspections have found the rust and deterioration to structural supports internally, making it evident the tank is approaching end of life. A $2.6 million bond to replace the Hammond tank was voted on in favor by the citizens of Toledo.
Can we like have a block party to watch that come down?
Probably pretty boring, so it'll probably come down to pieces. But I'm on board.
It would be fun. Yeah.
Or stick of dynamite works on it.
I was thinking that.
What's that?
I didn't
Or
say
stick of
that.
dynamite would work too.
There's neighbors with a bird up.
Okay, so I have a question for you. You're saying that it's coming out of 041-410-60-8100.
Tracy, that's probably not correct. That's taken from what was in the budget last year. And we have a water construction fund that
Okay.
will fund the tank. And just to update everybody, we're expecting to close on the bond sale on June 11th.
So it would,
That was an item that I was provided.
okay, that's fine. I'm just looking for where it is in the budget here.
You're wrong.
Here it is, water construction fund.
It's probably the last fund.
So the correct, okay, so the correct budget line item on that one should be 085-850-620-520.
That's correct, yes.
Thanks, Judy.
It's at 085-850-620-520.
That is what I said.
The next capital improvement project is actually for the filter media replacement that I spoke about before. The cost of the item is actually $275,000 roughly, and that would be coming out of the line item budget 041-410-620-520. Would be complete replacement. Capital to enhance and sustain public infrastructure and facilities by implementing plans for parks, stormwater, streets, improvements, upgrades, lines, improving fire infrastructure, and evaluating city fleet in order to create a safe, efficient, sustainable environment for residents and visitors. Explanation for the purpose is the filter media is a crucial part of our treatment process at the water plant. It's recommended to be replaced every 20 years, and as I stated before, it's been over 25 years. And the filter media is what is used. Filter media is what is used to physically remove the impurities, the particulate, and then contaminants from our drinking water in the process.
No matter what happens, I don't want this one removed.
No. Especially since it's over June.
Oh, it says ew.
I have a question. So recommended replacement is every 20 years. Will the new one be expected to last 20 years as well?
That's the expectation. We're still getting, we'll have to get numbers from multiple contractors, obviously, and find out what the warranty work is like. But the suggested replacement, 20 years roughly lifespan of it, and we've exceeded 25 currently.
Just would have thought there'd been some sort of improvement on them.
How long they last.
Yeah.
It's really old timey. It's just a different size of,
It's just a big Brita filter.
it basically, and it's like, is it like 10 or 15 feet deep? I mean, it's like thick.
I can't give you the depth. I don't.
You can go into a tour and see a, like a cutaway of it to see it. Yeah.
There's the aggregate.
Yeah, it starts to be big and goes to really small or vice versa. Yeah.
I think what she's getting at is 20 years ago, it lasted for 20 years. Now 20 years later, it should last longer than 20. I think is what she's going.
Yeah, but if it's the same materials, it possibly wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of.
If it's the same, if they replace it, maybe, yeah,
Seems like, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to find out.
Capitalism.
Must not be big money in
in the
improving
last
them.
15 years.
I don't think they probably have a lot of huge costs for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Question.
All right. Water treatment, both water treatment and water, both the SCADA systems need upgrading. Actually, we'll start this one for the water treatment plant itself. SCADA stands for supervisory control and data acquisition. It's needed for our process. Cost of the item would be $18,115 off the quote that I received.
How often do you have to do these?
That,
How often do you have to do these updates?
the SCADA, I'm not sure. on the SCADA system, seriously. I can get back to you on that, Frank, if you'd like.
Nothing,
I was just
it's a
curious.
technology thing. It's all technology, so it can change and improve, last long, that kind of thing.
I'm gonna check you. Budget line item 041410620 and it would be replacement. I skip the council goals, or we want to keep reading those every time.
And they're all
You
the
can
same.
skip.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Necessity is the water treatment plant relies on the SCADA system to operate. And it's due for an upgrade. Water treatment plant.
There's two SCADAs in here.
Right, one for water, one for wastewater.
Yeah.
What's up with these names? Level.
Well, some people call them clay valve, but it's actually clay valve because I believe it's a actually type of controller valve.
Okay.
So clay valve maintenance is something we need to do annual. Cost of this item is roughly $21,000. Come out of line item 012-125-600-420. Would not be replacement, it's the maintenance. The clay valves regulate the main pressures in the different zones and the different water pressure zones in the city. With proper maintenance, when it's not performed, they can gather debris internally, stick in position and cause severe pressure changes, which would cause water hammer, and which some of our aging infrastructure is AC lines, create spiral fractures and big problems. So these regulate the pressure zones and help prevent those from happening.
So this is maintenance on all of these valves that we have in the city. About how many valves do we have?
Good question. I want to say there's 16, but I could be off. Still learning. Back to the SCADA system, but this one is for the wastewater treatment plant. Estimate came in at $14,579. Budget line item 042-420-620-520, and would be replacement. Wastewater treatment plant relies on the SCADA system to operate and is an upgrade.
So why is, I just forgive my confused brain here.
I don't know.
Why is there $4,000 more for regular water as opposed to wastewater? I would think they'd cost more for the wastewater.
We don't have a good answer for you, other than that's the estimate of what it costs to be replaced.
What they charge.
Maybe one you have to detect the poo in the water and the other one you don't care.
SCADA systems perform different functions, controlling tank level, distribution valves, that kind of thing. Different systems of learning.
What is this thing?
What's that?
Public grid. Just glad that this is fine.
All right, so moving along, our Butler Bridge Road, sanitary compensation, the VFD, which is variable frequency drives, and the programmable logic controllers, which is also PLC known as. The cost of replacement is $99,624. Yes, that's steep, but it's outdated. The budget line item is 042-420-620-520, and it would be a complete replacement. The VFD drives, or the VFDs and the programmable logic controllers, PLCs, at our Butler Bridge pumping station, they're outdated and at end of life. Our systems cannot operate without them. Butler Bridge is in need of updating before we witness a catastrophic failure and potential safety health hazards associated with the failure.
What are the availabilities of these parts?
We can get them. I think there's, I want to say, the last I checked was like a 6-week turnaround possibly. But just a quick update, I know I'll move along. We had them rebuilt. They're archaic, but we found a company who can rebuild them. I think I mentioned before at council. We had to send them back to Georgia or somewhere and they reprogrammed some of the stuff. It's not in the norm, but we were able to do that to get our Ammon pumping station back up and running. And we're gonna let that one along. We'll worry about that one in the future. But this is pretty pivotal.
So how much did it cost to have it rebuilt?
This is not having to rebuild, this is just a portion of it,
Oh.
the VFDs,
How long do they last? You know?
I don't. But what I do know is it was a nice Band-Aid and it was cheaper than the alternate for the time being. But this is something that's, if it happens, it'll be catastrophic. Back to automatic transfer switches for high school's pump station, roughly $16,000. Budget item 442-420-60520. It wouldn't be a replacement, it should be an install. Installation of automatic transfer switch at the high school sewer pumping station would restore power to our pumps by a generator during a power outage. And it would help minimize safety issues for personnel during adverse weather and also reduce the potential for sanitary sewer overflow, which is SSO at our sewage, as our sewage would continue to be pumped to the wastewater treatment plant as opposed to surfacing.
Ditto on Lincoln Way.
What's that?
And ditto on Lincoln Way.
Yeah, and Lincoln Way the same. And basically, again, somebody has to manually go during an outage, turn the switch, and make sure the generator turns on to restore power. Ice storms, what have you, down these limbs, safety concerns for whoever's out on call. It's yeah, it can be problematic.
So now that Brian has gone through those, let's go back to page 28. This is our water revenues. Does anybody have any questions? It looks to me like we accounted for some of the loss of Seal Rock last year. It looks like there's more of it that we're accounting for this year. It's just going down. Anybody have any questions on any specific items? Okay, let's move on to page 29, water plant expenditures. Do I have any questions on this page? Okay. Not hearing any. Let's go ahead and go to page 30, and this is water distribution expenditures. Do I have any questions on this page? No? Okay, and then let's move to page 31, sewer revenue. Do I have any questions here? Oh, right. Moving on to page 32, sewer plant expenditures.
Kind of.
Okay.
Is this where I would ask about, last year when we did our tour, it was suggested about, we were taking, they have a guy hauling all the solids to farms. At that time, Doug was city manager and we talked about the possibility of sending the sludge to Dahl. Has that gone anywhere? To try and, because it's part of this, it would save us because we spent a lot of money hauling it out to these.
Yeah,
farms.
no, I get it. That conversation, it pretty much halted to my knowledge. That doesn't mean there can't be some kind of something in the works in the future, but.
Something that maybe we can address when we get a new city manager.
Yep.
Are we still hauling our waste to farms?
Correct.
That's what I did, yeah. I was on them today.
All right.
My only question to that.
Okay, page 33, sewer collection expenditures. Do I have any questions on this page? No?
What's PW reserve?
Public Works. All right, so let's move on to, now we're on to page 34, the City Council Strategic Reserve. We kind of discussed this one a little bit before. Do we want to discuss it anymore?
Beat it up earlier.
Beat it up, okay.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
So for the museum and the history center,
Okay.
that request was presented to us last week. For $12,000 each, and the year prior, we took that money out of city council strategic.
We took it out of the city council strategic reserve because they needed emergency funds at the time.
Okay.
And so this request has not yet been for emergency funding. So normally that would go to the donations committee. And unless they come to us with something more emergent asking for that, that's where the request goes to. It's considered with the donations committee.
I thought that their request was an emergency because it's up in the air again. And they're gonna possibly close because the county's not responding. And they mentioned that it was an emergency once again.
Possibly, go ahead, Andrew.
And to clarify, the we is city council.
City council.
City council.
Because I just wanted to clarify that because I know we, seven of us wear two hats in this room.
So that is something that
City
we
council.
actually need to deal with on the city council, and this is not an issue for the budget committee.
So that's what's happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, probably. That's a good question. Does anybody have any other questions on this or city council strategic reserve fund? No? Okay, how about the debt service fund? Do I have any questions there? Okay. Now page 36, this is called forfeiture revenue.
What does that mean?
Judy, can you please give us the good news?
Yes, the good news is that we are closing the forfeiture revenue fund. We're transferring what little bit was left in it to the 911 fund. And probably the 911 fund will be closed next budget year, depending upon your finance director, of course. But
Thank you, Judy.
yes,
Ours, do you?
Okay, so back in the day, police, whatever was forfeited during an arrest or a seizure could be taken by the police and auctioned off. And that's where you got forfeiture money.
I remember seeing a sign a while back of your busted DUI, they took your car.
Right, that was
They
part of
can't
it.
do that
And that
Well, they
law
used
went
to-
away, what was it, Barry, 15 years ago now?
Yeah, it's gone, so you can't do it anymore. It can only be used for educational purposes now.
Yep.
And rehabilitation, so.
And we're kind of down to the.
Yeah.
Taking your time.
Okay. So that seems appropriate since that's no longer, that's finally being closed. Moving on to the revolving loan fund. Do I have any questions on this? What is the nature of this one?
Okay, back to the history. Revolving loan fund was set up back in 2010 when we received a large chunk of money that we had previously gotten out of a grant for federal housing rehabilitation dollars. And what it was for senior citizens and low-income folks to essentially get a low to no interest loan on their house so they could be brought up to code. Okay, or fix a roof or, something so they could stay in that home, which then did not get paid off until the home changed hands. Okay, half of the money that still had the string attached to doing exactly that, we have secured with Dev Northwest. And then this money was to run our own program here. It has been in fits and starts. I don't think we've done any loans in the last couple of years, but it's there. I don't know if the public is aware of it. I
was
don't know.
gonna say, I doubt they are.
And I don't know if we've got actual program guidelines in place for it because of all the flux we've been in personnel wise.
This is something to address with our new city manager.
Exactly. Did that answer your question? Your question?
That was my question.
Your question.
And yes, it did. Okay, let's go to page 38. This is the solid waste fund. Rod, you want to give us some background on this one too?
Welcome to the Agate Beach landfill. So this is essentially, we still have to pay funds for the closing of the Agate Beach landfill. God, that was, I want to say that thing closed 25 years ago. We still have to keep the maintenance on it and so on and so forth until it gets completely closed by the state, which last I heard was still 5 years out.
So that's why we allocate all of it to
Have
the
fun with it.
contract and other services, and a little bit comes out each year until it's gone.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be some point that we would be able to close this fund out, or will we have to, okay,
Yeah, that when the landfill actually gets, for lack of a better word, closed, securely closed by DEQ
okay,
at that point. And that's been a moving target over the years. That's why I said approximately 5 years, because
okay.
that number keeps changing
And then we'll have to show it for 3 more years empty
Yeah.
before we can
Right.
close it.
before we can close. Right.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions on the solid waste fund?
A
No,
lot of money.
Well, yeah, because it's because if something goes wrong, we have to have the money paid to clean it up.
okay. All right, so let's move on to page 39, the 911 system fund.
Assuming that has to do with dispatch.
Well, let's find out.
Because it went from 100,000 to 6,000.
Yeah, that would be my guess too. So this will disappear this next year probably. Unless we figure out a miracle and bring our dispatch back. Okay, page 40, the building and property reserve fund. Does anybody have any questions here?
Just looking for the bridge to nowhere fund.
That's Rod's special fund.
Right in the ribs.
Yep. We haven't passed it yet, have we? Let me know when we get to it.
Okay, do I have any other questions?
Building?
No, okay. How about on our general reserve fund? Do we have any questions here? No?
That fire department equipment, I assume that's for the repair of that one truck you were talking, Chief Lake was talking about?
So this is the equipment reserve funds. So this year, we're actually not spending anything on a fire department piece of equipment, so we can actually have a positive there.
Yeah, that's part of the apparatus replacement plan. So the over expenses of this repair will come out of that. This truck was slated to be replaced 26, 27. So I moved it out. At this point, I just moved it 1 year, but it'll probably be more than that. And then there's other vehicles that need to be replaced or repaired if something should happen. But yeah, apparatus replacement plan, which covers our large purchase of breathing apparatus, our breathing air compressor, any of our very large items like that.
Thanks, sir.
Hey, what's going on with our fuel truck we bought?
Fuel truck, there.
Is it working?
Yeah, it should fire up.
I had heard from somebody it wasn't working. We bought it and then it went down.
It's well, we don't use it on a regular basis. I mean, possibly they go out and fire it up and make sure it did work since we got it for, you know,
Emergencies, yeah,
but
yeah.
We haven't been using it.
So
It's
what,
kind of on standby in case of emergency.
nope, I'm good.
Old fuel?
I don't think it's an important question, so I'm not gonna entertain it. I'm not gonna worry.
Is the fuel, we replace the fuel or is it?
I don't know about that, but that's what it's
You
for.
need to be using the fuel out of it and then replacing it to keep it fresh, right?
Is there any fuel in it?
Good question.
Well, it's diesel anyway, isn't it? So the life of it's way different.
Oh, yeah.
It's not gasoline.
Yeah.
Okay, so, okay, good. All right. Let's move on to page 42, the Public Works Reserve. Do I have any questions here? We are not transferring from water this year, but we are transferring from sewer. So, happens. No questions? Okay. Let's look at our water reserve fund. Any questions here? Okay, moving on to page 44, our sewer reserve fund. Do Entertain any questions with this? All right, page 45, our streets reserve fund. Do you have any questions here?
What's the business highway 20 improvement? Is that where you're talking about from business 20 to the repavement over there by Dairy Queen?
This is where it would come out of, but that's not exclusively for that.
Okay.
So,
It's for 20 in general.
so back in 2005-06, when we did the jurisdictional transfer with the state of Oregon, because this was considered business loop 20. Okay, when that occurred, they gave us a ton of money to bring it up to city standards, not state road standard. Okay, but what we decided to do at that point was we started this fund so that when we do have to do work on that huge stretch of road that we just got a hold of, we'd have money to do stuff. So like his work there will come out of this. Because at that time, I want to say that jurisdictional transfer, the state paid us like 3.2 million. And that's what got you curbs and gutters and all that for business highway 20.
Looks like this is the end of the library reserve.
It
There's
is.
nothing
They closed
coming
it
in.
out last year, but we have to keep it in the budget for 3 years.
All right. So I think we can move past that one. Footpaths and bicycle trails fund, Rod.
A footpaths and bicycle trails fund, we get money every year from the state as part of the gas tax allocation. The bridge to nowhere, as it is referred to, we got a very good pedestrian bridge for nothing back in the day. And the idea at the time was, so to put this into perspective, we know where the tidal slough is that we have in the tidal wetland. That sits across from East Slope Park. We had to do that to mitigate all the tip property. As part of that, though, the landowner, which we completely understood with, he wouldn't sell that unless we also bought what's known as the freshwater side. That's everything from the impoundment up to the first corner of East Slope Road. Okay, that's an 18-acre parcel. Part of what we were going to do before it was nixed by DEQ, because we can't add a shovelful of dirt or take a shovelful of dirt out of those 18 acres, was to put a park down there with several fields, pavilion, the whole 9 yards. And we were going to have a path that ran along the top of the dike that you see out there against the slough. We're going to have a walking pedestrian bicycle path that goes around and then goes across to the elementary school. It still might happen, but it's been going on. It kills me that the bridge is still in good shape. The bridge is going to outlive all of us, and it's going to be still sitting at Public Works one day whenever this gets done.
Unless we figure out someplace else to put it if
We
we
can't
can't
put
get
it on floats and float it with the tide.
You're
And then.
beyond the tide, up on the front,
Oh,
on the
that's
slough
right,
side,
that's
yeah,
on the slough
yeah.
side.
yeah.
Well, even better.
So the DEQ won't let us even go across it.
What if we don't
So-
tell DEQ we're doing it?
Oh, don't get me started. So
My comment was.
currently the revision is to use safe routes to schools to get them off of 10th where all the trucks are.
Right.
Okay, and then run that path, still run the path, still make the bridge across, but put in a lighted crosswalk there to the elementary school. That way they could bypass all the truck traffic on Sturtevant Road and on 10th. That's still a possibility, but those grants are competitive and you can't get them every year. So we just got one to get the speed signs in. Hopefully down the road, we'll be able to do this and make that happen. They already know what I think of them. DEQ is the biggest monkey wrench in getting anything done in this state ever. They know what I think. So.
All right. Do we have any more questions about the footpaths and bicycle trails fund? No? Okay, let's look at our systems development fund. Do we have any questions on this one? Okay. All dinosaurs are purple. And let's move on to page 49. Dinosaurs are purple? Yeah, Rob's the only one and Kim are the only two that even heard me.
Oh, I heard you.
My husband's down there going, what?
Saw the Barney.
Party, yep. I'm just seeing who's listening. Anyway, we're moving to the grants fund. Do we have does anybody have any questions about this page?
Yeah, what's a petroleum trust? Rod?
State of Oregon, representing all 241 cities and the 36 counties and the state of Oregon, was the victor in a lawsuit against petroleum industry back, God, I can't even remember how long ago. These are the funds from that, and we can only use it in certain instances, and that's why sometimes the fund doesn't move, sometimes it does.
Not like reclamation for petroleum products, like for the
And no,
ex-gas stations and stuff, or?
it was a combination of a lot of things, and the new Carrizo was part of it, and there were other things involved. See, you at least know of the new Carrizo. Yeah, a lot of people don't.
Yeah, I do. There was a ship that went down that had a major economic,
Major leak.
environmental
Just
leak.
leave it as that. And it's all about that, and
Exxon was that part of it.
yeah, it
too.
was
Exxon
I mean,
Mobil
it was huge. Every state,
So there's restrictions on what we can spend
on
on.
what we can spend it on. And it, yeah,
So it's kind of like the water, you can only spend water on water.
yeah. And there's
If
a
I
whole
go
list of
sprinkle
stuff.
water on the gasoline on the, over there, we could go reclaim it, make a path to the bridge to nowhere, right? Okay,
Thanks.
moving on.
Thanks, very appreciate it.
So let's, I do have a question on this Main Street program. We have $45,000 allocated to that. This isn't the one where we're getting business loan.
No.
What is this one?
The Main Street program is a program run by the state. And we have been involved in it in the past. For those of you that remember Celeste Matthews, she was our Main Street coordinator for many years. And it's like what Barry's trying to get started now on Main Street. And the city partnered with them back in the day because we were able to be the fiduciary agent for that program. We're hoping to get that going again, and that's why that's in there. We talked about that 2 years ago, getting it in here. And so hopefully business owners, if you guys all get together and come up with what you want to do, we can partner and get that money out to them because that's what it's for.
Okay.
That's the same, yeah, is that the same person that came from the Beavers that I talked to you about?
I don't remember, to tell you the truth, Frank.
Some lady was doing for our, going around and promoting
I think
different
he's
activities.
Oh, no, you're thinking of Katie.
I'm thinking of Kate.
A rare student.
A long time ago.
Oh, okay.
I think she's.
All right.
How close, guys?
We're close. On page 50, the stabilization fund. Huh?
I explained it once today.
Okay, so we have already explained this one. Do we have any more questions about the stabilization fund? Okay, then how about the public safety building remodel fund? Does anybody have any questions on that one? No? Okay. All right. And we will,
Boomer blue, go boomers.
yay. And then the water construction fund, we've already covered that one. That is to do with the water tower.
Yes.
So now we have, we've been through the budget, we've reviewed it. And, do we want to discuss it anymore?
The only two pages we didn't go over, and I don't know if it matters, but are 58 and 59 IT department upgrades.
Yeah, do we need to, does anybody feel like we need to go over these IT department upgrades? One was for, phones that need upgraded. And then the other one was for, Public Works fiber. So, extending the city fiber network to the public workshop. And then the other one replaces our current desktop phones, They're probably pretty old and antiquated, so. Probably were put in there in 1932, and I'm surprised we don't have to have a separate person hold on to it.
I just want to know where the cranks went.
The Parks and Rec master plan.
Okay,
Did we cover that one?
no, we did not.
We didn't.
Did we not get the grant?
No, we got the
We got
grant.
it.
This is the,
Okay.
this is the match for the grant.
All right, so. I don't know who would go over that. David, would you be able to address this one and go over
I
this?
should say that Justin from planning will be the one through COG will be spearheading this work on behalf of the city.
And is Justin here to comment on this for us tonight?
So Barry wants you to read the explanation. I'm at the bottom of that.
Yeah.
On the Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Actually,
Hey, oh, is this the,
Hello.
anyways, the planning department is proposing to complete a Parks and Recreation master plan to plan and prioritize future park improvements. In addition, this would include some planning for the boardwalk trail across Olalla Slough. Now, is that Olalla there or over there? Let's try this over there.
Yeah, let's try.
Okay.
This is Wallow.
Okay. The department will apply for Oregon Parks and Recreation grant to cover a portion of the cost because it's an amazing place to go kayak. The total cost is estimated to be $40,000 and is awarded the grant of the city would be required to pay 20% or $8,000.
We have received notice of the grant. We just got. Cool. The upper acre.
Ryan has a
Ryan has a
hand up.
question.
Yes, sir.
To follow up to Frank's questions, the SCADA systems can last for up to 20 years. Also, the VFDs lifespan about 20 years also.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's excellent work.
But in 20 years, they haven't improved the lifestyles.
Okay. Do we want to take some public comment? I think I'm ready for public. Do we have anybody in the audience that would like to comment on the budget?
If there's anyone online who'd like to speak, please raise your hand electronically and you will be recognized. I see no hands raised.
Okay. Well, then we will move on. I would entertain a motion if anybody.
I move to approve the budget as amended by the Budget Committee for fiscal year 25-26 an amount of $27,667. Oh, $6,446. Approve the tax rate of 5.18 per 1,000 of assessed value and accept the state revenue sharing.
Second. Give it to the mayor. No, give it to Frank.
I have a motion by Barry and a second by Rod to approve the budget as amended by the Budget Committee. I think the only amendment we made was a line item where that was coming from. For fiscal year 2025-2026, in the amount of $27,667,446 and approve a tax rate of $5.18 per 1,000 assessed value and accept the state revenue sharing, and I will take a vote. Barry,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Rod,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes, ma'am.
and Rod, did I ask you?
Yes.
I did. Oh, and yes is what I say, yes. So we have two vacancies and two.
Yes.
Should not be.
I did. So it is unanimous. And with everybody present, we are missing Ricky Dyson, Jackie Kaufman, and we have two vacancies. So we have now passed our budget for the 20.
Thank you, Judy.
And thank you so much, Judy. Thank you for all our department heads for all their hard work. I wish we had more to work with. Andrew.
Before we adjourn.
Oh,
Thank you, Cindy.
and we have we were asked to add something else to the meeting. we would,
I can just.
I'm gonna turn it over to Andrew to describe what he would like.
So I just mentioned, I just previewed to Tracy before the meeting that I wanted to add one more quick discussion for consideration by the committee. I would like to propose that the budget committee have an additional meeting to this typical cycle that we've been on in perhaps July of this year, where the idea is that we get together and we actually discuss as a committee the process of reviewing the budget, what these documents look like, what the presentations from department heads look like, but to provide some direction so that we get a consistent process that can be expected from year to year. I think that, I've only been on this committee for 2 cycles now, but it's looked different. The way information is given to us has been different these past couple of times. And I think part of that is we don't have a formal process for a lot of it. I also think that as I was reviewing the budget, I found some things in this document that I felt like there were opportunities for information to be presented more clearly for the purposes of a layperson, a non-accountant, which most of us are not accountants. I think there's some presentation that could be more helpful to us as committee members. And I don't want to necessarily use this time to do that. But I think that after the budget has been adopted, I think that this committee, I think we can sit down as a committee and propose to the city what we would like this process to look like so that it's as beneficial as possible to us when we are in this room making these important decisions for the city. So I could offer a motion of this. I'd love to kind of open up just the concept of this meeting.
Like an exit interview for the.
Kind of, yeah.
Retrospective.
I don't think July is a good month. Summertime, I think you might have more
Anytime,
time
yeah.
getting people.
The reason I
Between
think,
now and January.
yeah, I ultimately was trying to suggest relatively soon so that the process is still fresh in our memories, but I'm very open to anything, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it, should we just do why don't we just do a hand raising, and is anybody interested in doing such a process? If you're interested, let's raise your right hand.
Basically, we're seeing how the format's going.
Yeah, we're gonna kind of try to streamline it maybe.
Like what we thought was
We can
good.
design the form.
So one of the things, though, that we have to keep in mind is that whatever format look at, it has to fall within the state rule, how it has to go.
Yeah, I don't think we designing it would be a good idea.
Well, what
I
we
think it
can
would
do,
be a good
so-
idea possibly to have other formats that are already around.
Right,
Yes.
yes.
And I'll give just one thing as an example. So this is not to criticize anything about what we're looking at, but I personally would have really liked a different content in the narratives of each department budget. I think that having some history of the department and some of the stuff about, and I'm just gonna pull one out as an example.
Those are shorthand, by the way. Those
Yeah.
those are shortened up.
Yeah, so looking at fire, this is just the one that I pulled open. This is not about, again, criticizing anything. I think the history of East Lincoln Fire District is interesting, but that's not actually really a justification for the budget I'm looking at. So as a layperson, I don't need to, if I'm trying to approach this budget and read this budget and think about what the changes are from year to year, I don't necessarily need to know that East Lincoln Fire District have successfully become the 9th fire district in the county. That's not useful information, but that's the type of information that makes up most of that narrative. I think a good narrative could be a justification for significant changes of increases or decreases throughout the budget.
But that was the justification, because East Lincoln becoming its own entity is why we lost the funding.
All I'm saying is that when I read this, I don't feel as much of a clear connection between what I'm looking at across the budget or how it applies to specific line items throughout the budget. I feel like I'm looking at a history more than I'm looking at a narrative description of the complete budget of what I'm looking at. I understand, again, I'm just pulling open one particular thing. I think it would be useful for us as a committee to get together and say, what improvements can we make to this document? And perhaps I personally would have liked the presentations that we got. I would have loved those last week. Because then I could go with context into my reading of this document as opposed to reading this somewhat blind and getting the information now. So all of those things, right?
Or
Thinking about.
I would even add, when it comes as a layperson, right? And someone who, sorry, I don't tune in every city council meeting. If Rod has to sit here and explain something every single year because it's not explicitly clear here, could we not have just a supplemental packet with the acronyms or some of the background on these things that I know right now I'm not gonna remember?
Either way, I guess all that I'm pitching.
Well, and that, and if it was part of it, then people in the community could understand that.
It would,
yeah.
Make it be more transparent, too.
My
Accounting
more people to
terminology.
join this committee.
That's what you need.
Well, and she's right about the history. I mean, the only reason I know all this stuff is because I've been doing it for 27 years.
What are we gonna do if we get Alzheimer's?
I mean, you know, I don't have it already.
We're gonna have to
We
come
do know
home through all
that
these
you're even going to
recordings.
Hawaii, it's staying here.
I know.
Can we agree that that's generally a good idea? And then
Yeah, I think so.
think the city can try to schedule a meeting for all of us?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can we,
If we could do it.
can we task that with you to try to see what we can schedule in the meeting and bring it back and we can email a bunch of committee members and stuff and.
Issue
Right.
tracker.
Well, how much longer are you with us, Lisa?
No, that's what she's putting.
Issue tracker.
Okay, never mind. With her.
So that we are constantly reminded so that we can keep.
Yeah, no, I like that, that's good.
I do, I think it's a really good.
And I know some people know how to do a doodle poll.
Do what now?
So is there anything else anybody would like to bring up? Because I think that that's a good idea, we can talk about that.
For considering.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Andrew. That was a good idea and that considers process. With that, I think that we can probably be